All right. It's Monday morning, man. It is Mystery Monday, and we're going to be talking about all sorts of goodies today. Eric's going to get us kicked off, and then I'll be right back. I got to get some sugar in me because my sugar decided to crash last moment. But Eric's going to get us kicked off talking about Ndamukong Suh's retirement. And man, do we have a loaded show today? We've got holdouts in Detroit. Tate Ratledge is not signed. Is he even going to make it into camp? Some latest news on Alex Anzalone and the rest of your Detroit Lions and NFL news and rumors. It is the weekend updates, man. The Mystery Monday. Be back here in about 15 seconds. Then Eric's going to get us kicked off. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Rise and Grind Morning Show.
Adam Schefter at ESPN says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people shattering the NFL draft attendance record.
This is the future.
Oh, great.
Evolution. This is the future.
Oh, great.
Evolution.
Oh, great.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. This is the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Will's gone for just a second, and I'm going to kick us off today. We're going to talk about a player that was polarizing here in Detroit, especially for me, Ndamukong Suh. He is retiring after 13 years in the league, and Ndamukong Suh was drafted number 2 overall by the Detroit Lions. And man, this guy was defensive rookie of the year. He had 5 Pro Bowls. He had so many accolades on the field. This guy was a terror, and the Detroit Lions just couldn't keep him around. But one thing the Lions did do with him is use him in some pretty versatile situations. So not only did he foot stomp a Green Bay Packer, which I thought was hilarious, he also attempted a field goal when Jason Hansen went down. And I happened to be at that game. It was a Jets game. And we thought the kick went through because we were sitting in the corner of the end zone. So that was one of my favorite memories of Ndamukong Suh, was him being a former soccer player. He was the emergency field goal kicker, and he had to attempt a field goal when Jason Hansen went down in a game. I thought that was pretty cool. But I wrote this little thing last night about Ndamukong Suh, and I'm going to read it to you guys. So after a dominant 13-year career that established him as one of the most fearsome defensive linemen of his generation, Ndamukong Suh has officially announced his retirement from the NFL. A former number 2 overall pick by the Detroit Lions, Suh burst onto the scene as the 2010 Defensive Rookie of the Year. And he went on to amass 5 Pro Bowl selections, 3 first-team All-Pro honors, and a Super Bowl championship with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Known for his disruptive force on the interior, Suh also played for the Dolphins, Rams, and Eagles, earning over $168 million and a spot on the Hall of Fame's All-2010s team. Inspired by the passing of his father, he now transitions to a post-football career, hosting a business and finance podcast aimed at helping athletes and entrepreneurs, leaving behind a legacy that will spark Hall of Fame debates in 5 years. So, do you guys think out there? I had this question I wanted to propose that Ndamukong Suh someday may retire as a Detroit Lion. Do you think he would he come back and retire as a Detroit Lion? I'm not so sure since he had so much success with other teams. And another question I have is Ndamukong Suh a first ballot Hall of Famer? Now that I do think he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. So Matt Millen got a couple of them right. If I remember right, he was the one who took Ndamukong Suh, and he was the one that took Calvin Johnson. So he might have got a couple right picks in there. I'm not sure, but Ndamukong Suh retiring after 13 years in the league. What do you guys think? What's your favorite memory from Ndamukong Suh? And while you guys put some of that stuff in the chat, I am going to talk about who's in the chat this morning because we got a really good chat already, and we have a whole bunch of people in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. It all helps the show, especially subscribing. We got Trace, Sleepy's World. That's a new one. Bill Rowland, Mike P, Brandy Coffee, Michael Garrity is in this morning. Computer Joe, Gina, J Cruz in 71. Who else is in here today? Hassanin Mahdi. Good morning, sir. And Maureen is in. Gina is in. Let's see.
All right, I'm back.
All right. And then we got Let's Go Lion, Rod Miller, and Adam Gikowski. He's got the wrench. I don't recognize that name. So
Adam G.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude's been donating like every week, man.
Oh, yeah.
So did you end up doing a 97.1 this morning?
No, I did not. So I called in like they talked about, and the producer was an absolute dick to me on the phone.
What?
He said, nope. He said, nope, that was Friday's show. We're not interested in talking about that today. I was like, okay. And he hung up the phone.
Wow.
I was like, okay, I'm not calling you guys again.
Wow. Interesting. All right. Well, hey,
Yeah.
good morning, everyone. Welcome into Rise or Grind Morning Show. Yeah, my sugar decided to tank, so I might be talking a little funny until my sugar kicks up. Does not usually happen, but some days I go hypoglycemic and I just need to eat. I guess I need to eat more.
Oh yeah, I get
So-
super cranky and I get the chest buzz, and
I don't
'cause
know
I'm
about the
diabetic.
chest buzz. I mean, I know about
Yeah.
a couple other buzzes, but I haven't done that in a long time.
Oh man, when your sugar drops low enough and your chest starts to buzz, it takes a good hour or so before it goes away.
See, what
And
happens
it's
with me is
horrible.
usually I get dizzy, and then I get heart palpitations, and then I
Uh-oh.
eat a bunch of food, and then I sleep for like 4 hours. So if I fall asleep on the show this morning, you guys know what happened. So anyway, look, this weekend we had some news popping. Obviously, me doing my digging as usual. Tate Ratledge not signed, but he's not the only one, and there's 29 other rookies. Well, 28 if you're gonna count what just happened with Quinshon Judkins. Not signed, and so let's recap that real quick if you don't mind. Did you just do Ndamukong Suh's retirement stuff so far?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
And then it's kind of funny. So last night I'm doing my
Uh-oh. Now Eric's internet just
and
froze.
and the second round picks, and then I get on my phone and I look, and you just did a YouTube video about it. I'm like, oh man, I did all that work for nothing.
Man, I think I sent you my article that I wrote too. So the goal is to try to do some articles this year and back it up
Awesome.
with a video and try to release them all at the same time. But the interesting thing about Tate Ratledge is, and just to be clear, like my take, my stance, my report is, it's not to bash Tate. It's This is just, it is what it is, right? I mean, I'm seeing more happening now with this than I think what meets the eye for a lot of fans. From the comments that I've seen, matter of fact, let me just open up some of the comments if you don't mind for a moment. Because it makes me wonder if people even watch the video sometimes when they comment.
Yeah.
Because
30 of 32 second-round rookies have not signed.
Well,
it's
yeah,
unprecedented. This has never happened before.
Not only is it unprecedented, but I think it's going to leak into 2026 to where this might be no longer the exception, but the rule.
Yeah.
Where now second round picks are going to say, hey, we want some level of security. We want fully guaranteed contracts. They're cheap enough contracts, I would believe anyway, that maybe the NFL would bend a little bit on this. Okay, so once you know how it happens in life, Eric, like once you give someone an inch, what do?
Well, they take a mile.
They take a mile. So if the second round picks start to throw their weight around and the agents want these things guaranteed, what do you think is going to happen with the third round picks?
Well, it's going to end up being all rounds are fully guaranteed. That is what is going to happen.
And you know what, NFL, good for you to make it happen because you should. I think that they need to. These I've been saying this like last year when I said, how in the hell do we have a player on this team that's not even making $100,000? You've been with the team all summer, and you're not even making $100,000, and then you tear your knee up, and you may not make it back to another team ever. Your career could be done, and you made a few $100. I mean, I could make more. What was it, Jake Bates? I could make more selling bricks.
Yep.
Than beating the shit out of my body, excuse my language, in training camp. So these guys need some guaranteed money. I think that they need some guaranteed camp money because as we understand contracts, these guys don't get paid until the season starts. Right? So preseason stuff, training camp, like none of that matters. When the season starts, that's when these guys get paid. But they do get a per diem, right? Like, first round, second round picks, there's a per diem built in, and like Tate Ratledge's per diem, I think per day is like $1,750 a day.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good chunk of change, to be able to live on, during training camp. But some of the other guys, the UDFAs and the lower round picks, they don't get that kind of money.
No.
They're lucky to get $1,700 a week or a month. It seems like. So
that's like some of the UDFAs that get the $100,000 signing bonus or a $30,000 signing bonus.
Yeah, it's so rare.
Yeah, some of them get really low. Some of them get a $10,000 signing bonus.
Yeah,
that's what they live off
or
of
none.
until training camp. Yeah, or
at least they get some. They get free room and board, and I would assume that a lot of their travel and stuff is covered outside of personal travel. But yeah, it's not a lot of money. I think that to be an NFL athlete, I think there needs to be a training camp guarantee. That if you're going to be on the 90-man roster, that you're guaranteed, just like they would do for, midseason. If you're picked up, from a practice squad and you have to be elevated immediately to the 53-man roster, if you're poached off of someone else's practice squad, I think they should treat it the same way. If you're going to be in camp, that you're guaranteed 3 weeks worth of salary no matter what, just to be in camp. But that number should probably be no less than, let's just say $100,000, right? Give these guys $100,000 just to show up, to work out and everything that they're going through. Maybe pay these dudes to do the combine. I don't know. Look, I'm not trying to sink the NFL and say, hey, pay these guys a bunch more money. No, I mean, it's still a business. But I do believe that the NFL landscape, the dynamics, the complexities, it's all changing. And let me read through some of these comments because Peter Manning said he should do his best to get his money. Unfortunately, he has the leverage of the team needing him to start and possibly start at a completely different position that has the most impact on the shakiest part of the line. I think that's a great comment. And look, I'm all for Tate getting his money. I'm all for all these guys getting their money.
Yep.
But at the same time, this is exactly why, Eric, you and I have been talking about it since day one, bringing in high price free agents. It just doesn't work all the time, right? It works some of the time. It has to be the right time, if you will. things like this are going to screw it up, right? You're going to have all these guaranteed contracts. If Tate now gets a guaranteed contract, how's that going to affect being able to tie down some of the guys we need to, to sign next year? I think every action is going to have a reaction here.
Yep.
Okay, so there was some other comments in here where he said, where people were saying, this is strange because Holmes has proven to be loyal to his signings when contracts are due. And that was from Leonard Gonzalez. So to clarify this, Leonard, I want, if you're in this morning, I just want to make sure we understand the issue here. This is not Brad Holmes, right? This is a rookie deal. And these things are nailed down by the collective bargaining agreement. And the NFLPA put this together, within the union and the structure and everything that's been in place now since at least 2020. So it's second round draft picks are not guaranteed. Their contracts are not guaranteed. So it's been that way. It's not Brad Holmes. This is not a free agent, right? This is not one of his own guys yet that is having to re-sign a contract. It's his initial contract. And this is the agent, right? Eric, how many times we talked about this? The agent holds the purse strings, right? The agent.
They sure do.
It's not the player. So not mad at Tate at all. The Motor City Mullet, man, do your thing. But it's the agent right now. So even though Tate, I'm sure, wants to get in there and play, man. He wants to suit up. He can't suit up in training camp without a contract. You can play your way through OTAs and mini camps. I call it, that you got the teacher's pass, right? Or you got the parental supervision note, that you had to bring to school that day to say, I can go on the bus trip today, right? You can do that throughout OTAs and all the mini camps. You can't do that in training camp. You have to be under contract. So while I'm looking through some comments, why don't you give me your take on this whole thing?
The agents, they want every single dollar they can get, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So when they have a player that signs this big giant contract with, let's say, 60 million on the books in 3 years, and then the team cuts that player for cap casualty reasons, that agent doesn't get that money because the player doesn't get the money either. So they're owed money, but if that contract is guaranteed, they know they're getting all that money.
Yeah, absolutely. Remind me to come back to Bill Rowland's comment in just a few moments. So let's see. It says Carlos Lowry says, kind of shows that he is more of getting paid than giving Dan Campbell the respect. If you are that good, Dan will pay you what you are worth. Again, let me clarify. Dan doesn't write the checks. Dan is the coach, and Dan is part of the hiring process here throughout the draft, but he's not the one that is involved in any of these contract negotiations. Like, he's so far out of this. This is not what Dan does at all. Dan coaches the guys. He doesn't care how much these guys are making. It makes no difference to him. These guys aren't running around with dollar signs on their helmet saying, hey, I'm making $10 million this year, and he's making $5 million, and he's making $100K, and he doesn't care. All these guys are equal to him. It's who's putting the best foot forward on the field that day. So I just want to clarify a couple things because, again, I feel like some people don't watch the videos all the way, or they don't. There's a lot of good stuff, throughout these videos. I know that sometimes they can be boring at times, but if you just push through, you'll get a ton of information in some of my videos, and some of them will be fun and energetic, but some of these are just news, right? The news that nobody else is talking about. I haven't seen one person talk about this since May, right? In May, there was, I want to say Mike Payton wrote an article about Tate not being signed yet, or being one of the last stragglers not to be signed for the Lions. Well, we're now, another, month and a half from that, and there's been no conversation on it. So, anyway.
So, in my opinion, I don't think this has anything to do with the coach. This has nothing to do with Brad Holmes or the Detroit Lions as an organization with Tate Ratledge. This has nothing to do with the player himself. This has everything to do with the agents for these 32 players that are all second round picks. And I think they have banded together, and the first two were done. They were fully guaranteed. Now the rest are going to stand together until all of them are guaranteed. And as you saw, the San Diego, not San Diego Chargers, it's the LA Chargers now, correct? The Chargers, they just went to training camp day before yesterday. The rookies reported.
Yeah, so
And
Trey Harris is out.
Yeah, and their second round pick is not there.
Yeah.
He did not show up to camp. And
and again, that's not his fault, right? I mean, let's be clear about that. He's not signed, so he could be there, but he can't be there, if that makes sense. He can show up, but he can't practice. He can't be in the meetings, can't do anything. Matter of fact, I don't even know if you can be. So I'm going to walk that back. I don't even know if you can be in the building or on the property. I really don't know that answer. I went through the collective bargaining agreement up, down, left, right, and diagonally all weekend long. And I even posted it in the article for people to read for themselves. It's available through multiple sources. You can go to NFLPA.com. You can also go to SpoTrack, and there's a section in there if you're a premium member to be able to get some of these things. And man, I had AI trying to help me find, certain, sections that could help point to some rules. There's the unwritten rules, right? There's the precedents that have been set, which the precedent is if you're not signed, you can't play. You can't practice. But to your point, that all these guys banded together. So I threw this out there in the video and in the article. So just last week, we had the bombshell that we never really spoke about of the collusion that the NFL, they're guilty, right? It was found out that the NFL did collude, on contracts and trying to restrict, guarantees and player contracts. It's out there. Right. And so then I did what I'm calling a reverse collusion now, where you have all the players and the agents saying, hey, hold up. We want money. And so all of us, it's almost like a class action lawsuit with the second round picks. They're like, we're all going to hang out and we're all going to get paid. To your point, I'm calling that reverse collusion, where the NFL just did it, to some of these free agents. Now these second round picks are ensuring that their future is covered by getting at least their first contract, guaranteed. This is the whole thing hanging up Shamar Stewart's deal too. And that's just some offset language, about getting some guarantees. So not good, man. Here's my cliff notes. Number one, we've got a stalemate of second round draft picks. 29 other teams, including the Detroit Lions, for a total of 30 teams are involved. There's a contract standoff. Ari Mirov, he really nailed the trigger point on this, where it said it all started with one of the guys that we liked in this draft, Jaden Higgins, and then Carson, another guy I really loved in this draft, Carson Sweshinger. I'm still disappointed we didn't get him. 0 second rounders have signed since those two got fully guaranteed second round deals. So there's going to be a shifting market. And I think that there's a good argument here to say that, even though the rookie wage scale has fixed values and guarantees, the offset clauses are negotiable. And that's the sticking point, I think, with these guys, is this offset language and some of the other things. Texans and the Browns, they ruined it for everybody, man. Like I said, they shattered the mold here. They broke the mold. And the mold was, this is simple language. You sign your contract, you go play football. Not anymore. And then to someone else's comment, in the video, they were saying, well, the NIL money has made these guys greedy. I don't know. I would say that maybe they're used to getting some money, but I don't know if the NIL money is going to make these guys greedy or not. I think that this is more about semantics. That this is a game that can ruin your life medically. You're gonna retire with some bumps and bruises and some things that could be crippling, and they want to make sure that they're taken care of, because the NFL, average career is 3 years. It's not long. It's not even a first full contract. Training camp impact, nobody can play. The case study with the Lions is they have signed 6 of their 7 in 2025 as far as their draft picks, and Tate Ratledge is the only one unsigned. the Lions are kind of on this tightrope of balancing act that, like I said earlier, I think that this has future implications. Today, it's one contract. But what about next year? Because I can guarantee you right now, the conversation has already started. Everyone is going to jump in next year and say, look what the second rounders did. Now we're going to do it. So I think by next year, there's going to be some big changes. The biggest question is this, Eric. Do you think that this has the big enough impact to derail the NFL from a money perspective? Because I don't think so.
No.
I think that they're printing so much money right now that you can't take down the NFL.
I heard the other day that Roger Goodell's goal was to get the NFL to be a $20 billion and then a $25 billion a year enterprise. And now his new goal is to get them to 30 million in a year.
30 billion.
Or 30 billion, yes. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen within the next year or two. And listen, I was thinking about something while you were talking. So are we as NFL fans spoiled now? Because if you just go back a few years, back to when we had Matthew Stafford as our first overall pick, what used to happen with Ndamukong Suh and Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson and all of our first round picks? They all held out of training camp until they got the best of the best money, more money than any of the veterans, and it was ruining the NFL. And that's why they went to the collective bargaining agreement and they went to a rookie wage scale. So with this rookie wage scale, I think we've been kind of spoiled in the fact that usually everybody signs within a couple days of the draft. Do you think that, it's such a big deal this year because we haven't had this in 10, 12 years now?
I so spoiled from the basis of what that
we just don't have holdouts anymore.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the other thing that I saw in one of the comments was, them blaming Brad and Dan for kind of like mishandling this whole situation and just to pay the man.
Oh no.
There's nothing they've mishandled. There's nothing that they can do other than pay him, correct? But
yeah, that's it.
To your point, look, this is the only issue that we've had. Anzalone and Tate Ratledge. That's it.
Yeah.
Outside of normal conversation over contracts where players like, Jamal, Williams ended up going to another team and other players go to another team and they didn't get the contract that they wanted in Detroit. That's normal stuff, right? We haven't lost a big name player. We haven't lost any one of our big, draft picks. And the only player that we have an issue with really is Alex Anzalone currently. And Tate Ratledge is a rookie that's just kind of going through the motions here because if the Lions are the first ones to blink in this situation, if they're the first ones to say, okay, we'll do it. We'll do what the other two teams did. Well, then they might be the ones that are responsible for causing a major uproar, within the NFL as far as contracts for the future. So I think that I think the Lions are good enough at what they do behind the scenes that they could set the precedent and be the team to follow. I believe that. Or they could be the team that says, we're going to wait this one out a little bit. Tate, we love you, but we have to kind of get in line with what the rest of the league wants to do here. And I think that's the issue that's at hand, and that's why they're waiting for this long. Final 10 seconds on this. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just have to wonder how long this is going to drag on. Does it get done by Thursday? Does it get done by Saturday when the veterans report? If it's not done by Saturday, I'm going to be in very much worry mode because that means that our 5th round offensive guard is going to be taking the spot of Tate Ratledge until Tate Ratledge gets back. So I'm not worried until Saturday. If we get to Saturday and Tate's not signed, then I'm very worried.
Yeah, I would be worried too. Quick thought though. Can anyone tell if we're live on Twitter? So I downloaded a new plugin to where I'll be able to stream to Twitter and Facebook and two different YouTubes. I don't see us.
Look.
I don't see us on Twitter right now. I don't see it up and live, but that could just be my cookies preventing me from seeing it.
Did you get my text from a little bit ago?
No.
Alex Anzalone put up a little video.
Oh, yeah, the workout video.
And he says, preparation is the price of opportunity. Does that sound like a guy that's not going to show up?
Sounds
like
I don't think Anzalone's going to be in camp.
You don't? Okay.
No. I think the Lions, they brought in Cunningham for a reason. I think it's starting to become more apparent that and I don't want to get off on a different subject, but I just we'll talk about that in a minute. I want to transition this topic into Quinshon Judkins. So Quinshon Judkins had an issue over the weekend, and this is exactly why he didn't sign his contract, right? The team could walk away from him right now and not owe him a dime because he held out, he waited, and now he got in trouble. He has no guaranteed money. Now there's clauses within the NFL contracts that if you do stupid stuff, they could take your money, back. Just like what happened to J-Mo. He lost all of his guaranteed money because of a couple of issues, right? One being the gambling. The issue that we had with, oh my gosh, why is his name escaping me? Sutton. Sutton had the domestic issue. Alleged domestic issue, and the Lions are still trying to get that money back. I don't think that there's been a date scheduled. I've tried to reach out to get some answers. Haven't heard anything yet. So they're still owed anywhere from 6.4, I think, to 10 million on that deal. So Quinshon Judkins, man, what the hell happened this weekend with him? What did he do? So this guy's supposed to be a really, really, really good football player, good running back. What happened?
Yeah, he got arrested this weekend. And that's like we were talking last week. That is the call no GM wants to get. They don't want to get that call. So on Saturday, Quinshon Judkins was arrested and charged with touch or strike battery domestic violence, according to Broward, Florida Sheriff's Office. So Judkins is 21, is pending trial on the misdemeanor charge. He posted bond on Sunday afternoon. And the Cleveland Browns say that they are aware of the matter, but will decline further comment. So it's just too bad. This kid's another one that's not signed yet. Second round pick. This can't help him in his trying to get signed. This can't help it out at all.
Just very boldly, the dude screwed up.
Yeah.
He screwed up by doing what he did, whatever he did, allegedly, and he's not signed, which means the Browns could just walk away. And that's insanity to me. Like, his agent one has got to be pissed, but his agent's probably also, pissed at himself too, to think that, man, I didn't even get this guy signed before all of this. And who knows what's going to happen. We don't know what the data shows, what the police have, what the actual crime is or isn't. We have no idea. We don't know if he's going to end up on an exempt list. Is he going to get suspended before the season even starts? But this, again, you're right. GMs cannot stand the month off before training camp.
Yeah. And what happens if this guy hurries up and signs his contract, whatever they offer, whatever, hurry up, just sign it.
Yep. And that's what I was thinking this morning. I was like, this could be the first shoe to drop where this agent just says, I got to get my player signed because he just screwed up. Yep. Well, the team could now say, yeah, we're probably going to wait, or maybe not. I don't know. I think they want Judkins on the team. It just depends on what he did and how bad it is to whether or not he's going to stay on the team. So, yeah, this is where holdouts can hurt you, not only financially, but if you screw up and you do something wrong, it could hurt you the rest of your life. So Man, it's already 8:35 in the morning. So Bill Rowland, he had a comment in there when I was talking about my sugar issue this morning. And my mic's been low this whole time.
Oh, there you are.
Keeps dipping down too. So he says that he takes like a tablespoon of sugar or whatever with a little bit of water. And the thing that I learned a long time ago, yeah, I don't know why my mic is dipping down. Everything is off.
Still doing it?
Yep. So that's telling me that something's not right. Shoot. I don't even know how that's possible, honestly. I don't have two cameras set up, but it could be the fact that I added in all this multi-streaming.
And I looked on Twitter. I could not see it. I saw the
Couldn't see it either.
Yeah, I saw the thing for YouTube, but not for there. Gary Thompson in the chat says, FYI for Eric, I will be in Brimley the last week in July with a group of 60 at the casino. We'll stop by my shop. If you can stop by, I will buy you a cocktail. Well, one thing there, Gary, I do not drink, but I could come and check it out if I'm in town. But I think I'm gone that weekend, actually. I think I'm going to be up at the Coldwell Complex in Canada with 29 science teachers. I'm doing a thing with Lake Superior State University's geology department.
So my mic's just going to be a little off this morning. I'm going to turn it up on the back end and hope that it doesn't distort, but that's about the only option that I have. Please let me know if it's distorted. I appreciate it. So, yeah, the whole sugar water thing. What I learned a long time ago, like when your sugar goes in the tank, is you got to have protein. You need the sugar to get it up. You need something to get it up. So whether it's, Megan being a nurse, she always teaches me things too, just like a little bit of orange juice or something to kind of get the sugar up immediately. But then you got to back it with good protein. Otherwise, you're just going to have another sugar dump, if you add sugar, especially for hypoglycemic individuals. Now, for diabetics that go the other way, sugar's too high, I couldn't really comment on that. I don't really know anything about it. So that's what I do. That's how I do it. I try to get some protein in me, and whether it's, I used to do a spoonful of peanut butter, I'll do some applesauce, a little bit of juice if I have any in the house, which I typically don't, and then eat some protein. Get some protein in me. So Michael Garrity, big $5 super chat, says, this donation is to encourage the chat to start smashing that like button because he hates the ads. And if you want the ads off this morning and you don't have the premium for YouTube, then you get those likes up to 75 this morning. I don't know how many people we have in this morning.
77 it says right now.
77. So we should have 77 likes. Of course, I know that there's a couple in here that are just trolls. I know there's always a couple in here that are trolls. I get like 1 to 2 downvotes.
They might not like one of my topics today.
Oh, I get 1 to 2 downvotes on every stream.
Yeah.
And I know it's from the same people. Has to be. But otherwise I bat 1,000%, and it is what it is. They just like to come in and then steal all your content later and do videos with it and write articles with it. And that's cool. We're all supposed to work together, but maybe not. Michael, let me get you queued up, man. I gotta get some new stuff queued up on this thing.
Yeah.
But let's look, I'm really excited about Amik Robertson this year. Like super excited. I think Amik is gonna have an amazing season. So I'm gonna hook you up with Amik this morning, Michael.
On 3rd and 14, Jones has got it, setting up a screen, and it's blown up. Oh, my goodness. Amik Robertson just sent ETN back to Jacksonville. What a hit.
All right. Eric, you said you had a topic?
Yeah, the one that might upset some trolls. Especially the one that says he's not Broski Bear, but he's Broski Bear in the chat.
Okay, so we talking about the NFC North report this morning?
The other one. Yeah.
Well, let's do NFC North report first, if you don't mind.
Yeah, the
And
one
then do the
with,
Bears one in there. Do the Bears one
yeah.
that's in there. So the
That's what we're talking about, the
yeah.
Bears.
Go for it. So next up, we're going to do the NFC North report. This is something that we started a while ago that kind of fell off because we were in the off season. But the NFC North report, every weekend, there's always news flying. We're going to try to get you up to date every Monday. And then probably every day as the season goes on, because there's going to be a lot to talk about. But in today's NFC North report, Eric, take it away on the Bears, man. What's happening with the Bears?
All right. So the Chicago Bears have done the unthinkable. They have given Ryan Poles, their general manager, a 5-year extension. The Bears do Bears things and extend Ryan Poles after going 15-36. After an abysmal 15-36 record, Poles took over as GM in 2022 and has had 0 winning seasons, 0 playoff appearances, 3 last place finishes in the NFC North, and 2 seasons with 5 or fewer wins. So, why did the Bears extend him for 5 more years? For hiring Ben Johnson? For drafting Caleb Williams? You tell me, why on God's green earth would the Bears extend Ryan Poles right now after he has done nothing?
This is baffling to me.
Absolutely nothing as the GM of the Chicago Bears. So if there are any Bears fans at all listening to this podcast today, can you please tell me one good reason why ownership of the Bears agreed to a new 5-year extension with Ryan Poles? Ryan Poles, looking at this from afar, so I'm not even looking at it through the lens of being a Lions fan. I'm just looking at it through the lens of an NFL fan. Why would any team give a GM with a 15-36 record who has done nothing, absolutely nothing? Now, has he taken a team that had a very high salary cap, like dead cap number, and made it much lower? Yes, he has. But some of the contracts he's given out have also been abysmal. So
Well, the contracts that he's done, I mean, to be flat out, have now added to the problem for the future.
Yes,
For the Bears,
and
which I'm good with. Keep doing it, please.
yeah, so like even on my social media, I just put, the Bears extend Poles for 5 more years and just put ha 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 ha, because that is I mean, as far as a Lions fan, that's the best news we could have got out of the Bears this week. So keep on doing Bears things, Bears. I love it.
So I'm just reading the article, briefing it again. So this was put out by, it was Alyssa Barbery out of the Bears Wire.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure we're on the same one. So even she said the Chicago Bears surprised many when it was reported that Ryan Poles is being signed to a multi-year contract extension that keeps him in Chicago for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So even the Bears fans are like, huh? What's going on here? But here's my thought. And maybe this is a smart signing. So let's look at it in terms of getting in front of a player that's about to have a breakout season. You get him signed, right?
Yep.
Are the Bears about to have some breakout seasons per se where they're going to have some success? Maybe they're going to get a few more wins. I'm not saying it's going to happen this year, but it could start next year. And matter of fact, when we listened to Dan Campbell today, he's expecting the Bears to do some Bears things the other way. Like he's expecting the Bears to be very good quickly. So I think that from a smart perspective, it's a smart signing if you're trying to get in front of what could be. To your point, the guy's done nothing. And when you look at the Bears and you look at the Lions, and you kind of started them around the same time, right? When did Ryan Poles? He took over the GM position in 2022. Brad takes over in 2021. So they've pretty much had the same amount of time. And in that time, well, 1 year less, but in that time, the Lions have gone to the playoffs twice, won the NFC North twice. We won 2 playoff games, went to an NFC North or an NFC championship, won the 1 seed. Yeah,
Yep.
we exited early last year, but Poles has had only 1 season less, so you would have expected him to at least make the playoffs by now.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened.
Yeah, and they list like some of his accomplishments in here, I guess, that he's made some impactful moves by trading the first overall pick in 23 with the Carolina Panthers that resulted in an impressive haul with quarterback Caleb Williams, receiver DJ Moore, and right tackle Darnell Wright. And then he's landed other names like defensive end Montez Sweat and guards Joe Tooney and Jonah Jackson. But then they go
Look,
on to
I'm
talk
not going to
about-
lie. Like what he did this year,
Yeah.
I think that's Ben Johnson.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
I think that the players did not want to go to Chicago. And
Nope.
now that you have Ben Johnson, they're like, oh, wait a second. Sure, we'll give it a shot.
Yep.
And that's exactly why I think that some of these things have happened. I don't know the dynamics between their relationship, but I think that we can put it to bed now that Ben and Ryan maybe don't get along, or that, maybe this isn't a good fit. Maybe it is a good fit. But if it were me and if I were Ben, I would have wanted my own GM.
Yeah. And like she goes on to talk about Poles with his misses in free agency and drafting that included wide receiver Chase Claypool. Remember when he traded for him?
Yeah, what a disaster that was last year.
Yeah. And then offensive lineman Ryan Bates,
Mm-hmm.
drafted receiver Valus Jones Jr. in the 3rd round, and trading linebacker Roquan Smith.
That one I'll never understand.
And then he signed Tremaine Edmonds. And then his biggest blunder was the decision to bring back former head coach Matt Eberflus last season, which led to one of the most disastrous seasons in franchise history, including a 10-game losing streak.
I think that the writing was there. I mean, so look at that. I mean, you brought back Eberflus.
Yeah.
And
Listen,
I think a relationship was there with him and Ben then to say, look, I'm going to bring him back for 1 more year. Ben, you're not ready to leave, so maybe next year we'll see you.
Yeah, I literally thought when they fired Eberflus that he was on the way out. I thought that was it. They'll wait till the end of the season. They'll get rid of the GM. They're going to do a whole new start over, just like the Lions did. They're going to fire the GM, fire the coach, everybody, start fresh, brand new regime. And no, they keep Ryan Poles and they don't change anything except for the coach.
Exactly. So, hey, good morning to Mr. Hassanin Mahdi. Appreciate you jumping in just about every day. And Attila the Hun. So, great comment, says he drafted Williams over Jaden Daniels. He should have been fired for that one. So, Attila, do you remember who said that Jaden Daniels was going to be the best rookie quarterback in the league last year? I did. Do you know who put Jaden Daniels on his mock draft, on the very first mock draft? I did. And I said, the Bears are going to do Bears things, and they're going to draft Caleb Williams, but I'm going to put Jaden Daniels there anyway, because that's the smart move. And I guess maybe Ryan didn't take a look at my mock draft. I don't know. Maybe I'll send it to him next year. Just kidding. I'm not going to.
Like what Peter Van Loerhoven put. The Bears 1,000% tampered with Ben Johnson last year, and the fact that the NFL did nothing to address it is BS.
Yeah, I think something happened there too. So Bears do Bears things. Let's dig into, well, these are all your topics.
Yeah, sure.
Let's dig into the remaining needs, for each NFC team. Now, this was supposed to be the NFC North report today. I was just going to do that all by itself. I just want to highlight the 4 teams. So let me
They're
grab
right
a
on the
couple
top.
of them out of here since we're talking about the Bears. This
Yeah,
CBS Sports article says that the Bears are a contender for the title of most improved roster this offseason.
Okay.
And it is becoming more difficult to poke holes in its roster. The defensive tackle spot is interesting because the Bears have a lot of talented players without production and a few older players, but nothing in between. Safety is the clearest position of need with an aged Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker, starting with little more behind them. So according to CBS Sports, Bears could be the most improved roster year over year. What do they say about the Packers?
Let's see. So Green Bay, they say Green Bay needs a cornerback. A path exists for every position on Green Bay's roster to be adequate. The Packers signed Nate Hobbs, and there could be more versatility there than his background in Las Vegas suggests. The team moved on from Jair Alexander and Eric Stokes this offseason. Carrington Valentine and Cassian Nixon are also competing for significant roles on the boundary. They may well be fine, but that is one position that carries the biggest unknown at this stage of the festivities. Now, Green Bay, they say, needs a cornerback. That is probably one position that you don't want to have a need at in the NFC North right now. Not with Jared
with
Goff.
All these receivers in this.
Yeah, not
in
with
this
Jared
league,
Goff
no.
slinging the ball around. And then you have Justin Jefferson and Addison, and you have all these guys for the Bears. Man, Packers, you might be in for a hurting if your biggest need is at cornerback. You might be hurting this season.
Oh, I think they're going to be hurting a little bit. It also says that the Packers need more pass rush production. But the investment has already been made with 2 former first-round picks on the roster. And those players just need to perform at a higher level. I don't remember who they grabbed. Were they free agents or were they actual first-round picks? I don't remember now. But for the Vikings, they say that the Vikings need a safety. Safety, linebacker, and corner are kind of all in that similar footing there up in Minnesota, as the Vikings could use one new starter at each position. That's not good. That's not a good position for the Vikings to be in.
No.
In the case of the cornerback, they retained Byron Murphy. They signed Isaiah Rodgers, but the coaching staff seems to be higher on the Rodgers edition than maybe he has proven to this point in his career. So at safety, Harrison Smith, 36 years old. I can't believe this dude is still playing. And Cameron Bynum signed with the Colts in free agency. So the Vikings are going to regress a little bit on defense. I still think that their front 7 is pretty solid, but their back end, again, just like the Packers, I think Jared Goff's going to have some fun. And then we have our Detroit Lions. So what's it say about the Detroit Lions?
So once again, this is another one saying that the Detroit Lions' biggest need is at edge rusher. The interior offensive line has taken a hit this offseason, having lost veterans Kevin Zeitler and Frank Ragnow. The Lions did draft Georgia's Tate Ratledge in the 2nd round. Their starting offensive guards right now are Christian Mahogany and Graham Glasgow. It would not be a surprise if they added more competition.
So it said that the interior offensive line took a hit.
And that's not their biggest need.
Right. So well, I mean, it is really. I mean, the offensive line was the biggest need. It's not anymore. When did this come out? This was July 11th. So it's almost like they forgot who we drafted the last couple of seasons. Mm-hmm. And then it says about the edge rusher. It says the edge rusher was also given a lot of thought, or edge rusher was also given a lot of thought. Detroit moved on from Zadarius Smith after acquiring him mid-season, and Aiden Hutchinson is returning from a serious knee injury. He had a knee injury?
When?
When did he have a knee injury? Last I
don't know.
checked, he had 2 broken bones in his leg.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's surprising.
This is CBS Sports?
Yeah.
This must be AI, dude, because,
yeah.
All right, so the other pass rushers on the roster, Marcus Davenport, Josh Paschal.
I thought Paschal was interior.
He is a hybrid. He does play inside out. Last year he played more out because he had to. Davenport struggled to stay healthy throughout his career, and Paschal has been more of a stable run defender than one capable of providing explosiveness off the edge while also dealing with his own injuries. You guys know how I feel about Paschal. Look, he's been up against it with injuries, and I'm sorry, there is nothing wrong with being a right defensive end in this league, and you're really good against the run. Like, that's your job. Your job is to crush that can, hold that line, right? Not let the running back do anything. Push, the ball where the offense doesn't want the ball to go, which is the other side towards Aiden. do your job, clean it up. That's what the right defensive end is supposed to do. And yes, at times, you're going to be the guy that's rushing the quarterback. And with this team that's around these guys, there's going to be plenty of opportunity. But again, my take, get me TFLs. I do not care about sacks. Bat that ball down. We need zero-sum plays. Get in the backfield and knock these receivers and running backs and quarterbacks down behind the line of scrimmage or at the line, and you're good, right? You don't need a bunch of gaudy sacks to win a Super Bowl. You just need to be consistent in what you're doing. So that's your NFC North report as far as what teams in the NFC North, the biggest needs for the teams in the NFC North. Now, we had three more topics here in... two more topics in here for the NFC North. I would like to get to the Vikings real quick.
Okay.
How fast can you do that one? We got a hard stop in 4 minutes.
We can probably do it pretty quick.
Go for it.
So I came across this article, and the name of the article is "The Vikings Face a Warning Over J.J. McCarthy's Role in 2025." And they say that the Minnesota Vikings made a big bet on quarterback J.J. McCarthy this offseason, allowing veteran Sam Darnold to leave in free agency after his career best season, and instead moving ahead with McCarthy despite his injury-shortened season. So the writer goes on to talk about how last season the Vikings were 14-3. Could the Vikings land at the bottom of the NFC North this year? He suggests that McCarthy's development will slow the team's outlook. McCarthy was in line to earn the starting job last year before being sidelined by a knee injury, forcing Darnold into action and leading to the best case season of the veteran's career. And then he said, though head coach Kevin McConnell has provided himself to be a quality play caller, he can't wave a magic wand to expedite first-year JJ's development. Now, the Vikings, since O'Connell became the head coach, their rushing offenses have been ranked 19th or worse every year. Without a complementary ground game, the QB could be in for a struggle through the first half of the season before he finds his rhythm. So my question of this whole thing was, do you believe, as Lions fans, as Vikings fans, as other fans, do you believe that the Vikings will go from 14-3 last year to last place this year because JJ is a rookie?
Say that one more time, the last part. Do we believe they will do what?
That they will go from 14-3 in second place in the division and fall all the way to last place in the division this year because they're starting a rookie quarterback.
Yep, that's what my board says.
Yep.
I believe it. Look,
I also,
again, it has nothing to do with what happens on Saturdays. This is the NFL, and J.J. McCarthy is essentially a rookie. And he's going up against one of the toughest divisions in the league. And I think that this season is just going to prove to be too much for him, especially for a quarterback that has not been depended on in the fourth quarter to do anything but really hand the football off. And now he comes into a league where it's a passing league. And you know, does he really have a good or great dynamic running back? Yeah, I don't think so. So he's going to have to put the ball up. And I think that's where he's going to end up in trouble. If he's going to start running the football around himself, it's not going to be good for him.
Yeah.
Not going to be good for him.
Like in that last game against the Lions, they wanted to rush Jared Goff on every single play.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened? Jared Goff's one of the best quarterbacks against the rush, and he tore him up. And
you sit in zone, he'll dice you up. You want to blitz him, he'll dice you up twice.
Exactly. And then now if the Vikings, like this other article says, that they're lacking at the safety position, that is really going to hurt them this year.
Yeah.
And then to add onto that, are basically a rookie quarterback, man, this team just might be setting itself up for disaster this year as far as how they do in the NFC North.
Yep. So we got a hard stop here at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
We'll be right back here in about 15 seconds. And we'll continue on this conversation.
Yeah, 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Against all odds. 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 Against all odds.
The podcast.
Shout out to Rockhound Detroit Lions, man. My pride.
All right, welcome into the Rise to Grind Morning Show. It is the second hour. It's 9 a.m. It's Monday morning. It's Mystery Monday. We're already off and running discussing what's happening with the NFL news, Lions news, rumors, all from the weekend updates. And we're going to continue on in a conversation right now about the Minnesota Vikings and J.J. McCarthy. Are the Minnesota Vikings going to go from second to worst in the NFC North because of J.J. McCarthy in his rookie season? So, Eric, you just said that the defense, obviously missing some pieces in the back end could prove to be too much, for the Vikings to lose. And then also adding a rookie quarterback on top of that. And I think that that's a big piece is, you need your defense to give your quarterback opportunities. And if this defense is not able to turn the ball over or stop teams from scoring or stop teams from long drives, then you're not going to be able to give J.J. McCarthy as many opportunities as he's going to need as a young quarterback in the league. He's going to have to figure out the speed. And, let's just be real. He had the knee injury last year, and he wasn't able to, coordinate his game with the game speed because he was on the sidelines. He's going to have to learn this year what this game is all about. He understands the game of football. But as I've said, he's never been dependent upon for his arm in the fourth quarter, and I think that we're going to see this year just how important that's going to be for him. Just so I know, and maybe the listeners, your super early preseason take. Give me the rundown first to fourth in the NFC North.
In the NFC North, I think the Detroit Lions end up first. The Packers do regress a little bit this year. They are second place this year. Better than their third place finish, but I don't think they win as many games. And then I think it's going to be the Bears in third and the Vikings in fourth this year.
That's exactly where I am too.
And that has nothing to do with fandom. This is me stepping away, looking at it from the window of, and this has nothing to do with coaching either, because I think Kevin O'Connell, he was coach of the year last year. He
twice
he
in a row, and he didn't deserve it.
Yeah, well, I think he is just as good of a coach as Dan Campbell. Really, he's done an excellent job with the Vikings. But listen, no matter how good of a coach you are, you cannot make up for inexperience. And listen, only 2 rookies quarterbacks in the last 20 years have come in and lit the league on fire and made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud. That's it. That I can remember.
No, it isn't. And it's something that I was talking about for a long time, that rookie quarterbacks are not the answer. And so for all the Lions fans that wanted rookie quarterbacks early in the process of the Lions rebuilding, it would have been, I think it would have been detrimental to the team, because you needed to build the team. You needed to get some draft picks in the house, right? You needed to solidify an offensive line and defensive line before you can throw a quarterback in there. That might be one area where the Vikings are okay, in the sense that they have focused on the trenches, and I think the trenches are fairly solid for JJ, to walk into this year through his first season. But it's an evolution, just like any other team, that they're going to have to evolve after the season and make some, adaptations and changes to the roster. So moving forward this morning, let's start getting into some of the Lions news. And we highlighted this holdout situation earlier this morning, where we spoke about Quinshon Judkins and Tate Ratledge But now I want to dive into Dan Campbell for just a moment. So was it about a week ago that I thought it was pretty funny, right? About a week ago, I did a video about Dan Campbell potentially coaching the Cowboys at some point, and throughout his coaching career. And I meant it from the perspective of, could Dan Campbell win in Detroit, do everything that he needs to do in Detroit to say that he came, accomplished, overcame, put the city up on a pedestal, with the Lombardi Trophy, and then goes back home? That's all the video is really about. Just, would he do it? Could he do it? And then could he take two teams to a Super Bowl in 10 years? And I'm not saying that the Lions can't go back to back, or they can't, go to the Super Bowl a couple of times, in Dan's first 10 years. But my point is, could he do it twice? And I think that he could. And would he want to go back to Dallas and go back home and coach the Cowboys? And my thought process was, when Jerry Jones is out of the way, I think that maybe the door would be open, or at least Dan would have thought, the door would be open for him. But he kind of put that to rest over this weekend. Obviously, Dan heard my segment. He must have watched the video. Had to have. Because how does this just come out a few days later where he's saying, I don't want to coach anywhere but Detroit, and I don't want to coach in Dallas? Kind of funny, right? Kind of funny.
And he got interviewed by a radio station in Dallas.
In Dallas. Yes, in Dallas. So I dialed up some audio. Let's go to the audio now. Let's take a listen to Dan Campbell's interview, and I chunked it up. So we'll stop and start, and we'll talk about each segment. But Dan's listening in. Now, I haven't had any emails from Dan in a while, so Dan Campbell, if you're listening, what's up, man? You disappeared. I'm gonna have to check in on you. The other Dan Campbell, make sure he's okay. Haven't seen him in the chat in a while either. So, all right, let's get into
it. We were talking about a little bit earlier when we opened the show, trying to promote the fact that we were having on. When we first all met you, and your hair was super long. Could you ever pull that look off again as head coach in the NFL?
Okay. All right, so the first one is this Dan Campbell's cold game take, and his first time at a cold game. And I thought it was funny. I thought it was right on par. So he was asked a few questions about, the Lions playing in cold games, yada yada yada. And let's go to the audio now. Here we go.
The coach of the Detroit Lions, friend of the show, I dare say.
Let me double check the sources one more time. Did you listen to the full podcast, Eric?
That was going. It was working.
Oh, why am I not hearing it? I don't know why I wasn't hearing it. All right, here we go. I'll go back to it.
So you've never tried to get the Lions to play outside again?
Well, I would love to play outside.
No, you wouldn't.
Outside. Listen, I'm a purist, and look, I don't love the cold. When it comes to football, I love it, man. I think it's meant to be played outside. I think it's meant to be in the elements, and I miss that stuff. Most players probably don't feel like I do anymore, but, man, I think there's nothing better than when it's rainy, it's muddy, it's cold, there's snow. I love it.
It's great to watch on TV. I do love that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, being there is a little different.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Eric, this was about playing in cold weather, and there's been a lot of conversation that Jared Goff can't play in cold weather. I think he's put that to bed. I would say that all quarterbacks struggle in cold weather. Every quarterback has a problem throwing the football. Every receiver has a problem catching the football. Every running back has a problem holding on to the football when it's cold and icy, outside, the wind's blowing. It's below 30 degrees. That ball's like a freaking rock. But Dan Campbell loves it, man. Not afraid to play out in the cold. He's excited to play outside this year. What did you think?
I'm excited for week 1 at the Packers this year instead of week 11 in the snow and the rain.
Yeah,
that
me
makes
too.
Me way more excited as a fan. I don't like sitting on metal benches in the cold and the snow. So the only game that gives me pause this year is the Bears game at the very end of the season. That's the only one I don't know if I'm going to go to.
Oh, I'm doing it. I gotta experience it, man. Look, there's only so many times you're going to be in Philly. There's only so many times you're going to be able to go to Chicago in January. It just, you have to do it. You got to dress it up, right? You got to wear some very warm clothes. You might have to invest a couple $100 in heated outfits, but it's worth it just to be. And tickets are probably going to be dirt cheap. Maybe.
The Packer tickets, the cheapest I could find was around.
I'm talking about Bears.
Oh, $350. Oh, the Bears tickets I'll wait till right before game time.
Yeah, especially if it's snowy and cold. I think that those tickets are going to take a dive.
Yeah,
all right, so this next Dan Campbell take, he talks about his first beer, and I thought this was just absolutely hilarious that Dan Campbell was talking about this. So let's bring in Dan Campbell talking about his first beer in an icy cold game. Apparently I screwed up all. Here we go.
Listen, I'm a purist, and look, I don't.
All right, so that's the cold game. Hold on a second here. I don't know what I did.
On our phone lines right now is the coach of the Detroit Lions, friend of the show, I dare say friend of mine, the great Dan Campbell, is back. Hi, Dan.
Hello. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Hi, Dan.
We're so good. This is great to make it 2 in a row with you, and really appreciate your time.
Were you a fan of the Hulk Hogan Real American walkout music?
That's been a while, but yeah, it wasn't bad. Wasn't bad at all.
All right, so the first thing I wanted to ask you is, am I crazy, or did you and Marco Rivera take an RV to Lambeau Field some year for some reason from here?
We did. We did. And I can't even remember what year that was. That was I know we went and saw the Giants play the Packers.
Oh, so
that's how
the 07 title game, right?
That's what it was. And
wait, why would you go up there when it's like 0 degrees?
Well, obviously, Marco, he'd spent all that time there before we had signed. He had signed with us as a free agent. And so, a bunch of his buddies are still there and people he knows. And I was in Detroit at the time, but he, that was obviously the Seattle game for Dallas, right?
Yeah.
And so they had just got knocked out. He said, "Hey man, let's just take the RV and go up there. We'll go stay with some friends." And so we did it. And it was one of the funnest times we've ever had, but it was brutal. It was brutally cold. And, it was, it was classic. You couldn't use the bathroom. Everything froze up at some point,
God.
That was the game where Tom Coughlin had frostbite, basically.
We had red sheets.
Yeah.
Yes.
It
was it was cold. It's the first time I ever experienced open a beer, grabbed it out of the back of a car pregame, and I watched it freeze the top of the bottle. I just watched it freeze to the bulk of the bottle. It was crazy.
All right, Dan Campbell talking about frozen beer and taking an RV up to. I couldn't hear the game that they were talking about because I was trying to read the chat. If something happened with the audio, I don't know what it was. I didn't hear it.
Lambeau.
So this is Green Bay.
Yeah, they were going up to Green Bay for the NFC Championship game between the Giants and the Packers.
Nothing comes to mind more than the Snow Bowl. when I think about some of the coldest, craziest games in Detroit history, which is the Eagles and the Lions.
Yeah.
Calvin
Megatron.
Johnson catching those balls, man, and that weather was just insanity. LaShawn McCoy dominating on the ground, just fun to watch, right? I mean, some of the funnest game to watch are big-time snow games. But Dan Campbell getting his first beer, frozen beer, which, have you ever seen that happen where if you take something like out of the fridge or the freezer and it looks like it's water and then you shake it and it turns to ice from the bottom up?
Yep.
I don't know why that happens. But I've seen the new trending thing now where you take a frozen beer out and you scrape the snow or the ice off the side of the bottle. You open the bottle, you put your finger in it, you tip it upside down, and then the ice grows from your finger up through the bottle. I don't know. I guess people have too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
So this next one. This is a great interview, by the way, and I'll put the link in the description once we're done with the show this morning. Let's do Dan Campbell's hair story. So here we go. Maybe. All right, Dan Campbell's hair story.
Super, super long. Could you ever pull that look? So we were talking about a little bit earlier when we opened the show, trying to promote the fact that we were having you on. And, you know, when we first all met you and your hair was super, super long. Could you ever pull that look off again as head coach in the NFL?
I don't think so. I don't think, not that I ever took care of it anyway, but I think it would be pretty scrappy. I've got a receding hairline and it's all nasty. I mean, it's just, I don't think so.
So there's never going to be a Dan Campbell comeback in the hair department?
Well, probably not. I don't want to say never. You never know. I mean, you really don't. But I think those days are probably done for me.
See, I was thinking, okay, it's like year 5 now. Like, you've done your winning to a certain extent. Or are we going into year 6? Wait a minute.
No, we're going into year 5.
Okay, I got to get out my toes here and figure out what year we're going into. But the point is, you've established yourself. You know what you're doing. The Lions are great. Now you can bring the hair back, and nobody's going to say anything. You just can't do it in year 1, probably.
Well, I think it takes. There's got to be a lot of things have to align properly. Rob Ryan did it, man. He pulled it off. I think,
right.
Like, he could do it, and it just made sense. Not everybody can do it. I don't know if I could pull that off.
Okay, so Dan Campbell bringing his hair back. It's kind of funny. I mean, he's just the ultimate, macho man, but he doesn't care. Receding hairline or not, he's Dan. He's going to be Dan. He doesn't care. So the question is, could you ever bring back the hair? Dan's long, blonde, flowy hair. And he says that he never really took care of it. What did you take out of this one, Eric? The next one, the next segment, this is the segment. This is Dan Campbell's Fight Club. This is a whole video that I got coming out later today, and I'm going to share it with you guys this morning.
So I like what Ornery U of M dad says in the chat. He said the Motor City mullet. That would be awesome if Dan Campbell wore a mullet like Tate Ratledge and a couple of the other guys. Let's get these mullets going for all these guys. That'd be awesome.
I mean, the Motor City mullet's been on vacation for a while, but he might come out soon. We'll see. We'll see. All right, so the Dan Campbell Fight Club. Now, this is probably one of the funniest stories that I've heard in a long time from Dan. But I got to tell you, you gotta listen to this. Was on Spotify. It's called The Ticket, and it's down in Dallas. Again, I'll post the link in the description when we're done, and then you can listen, start to finish. Really good podcast, about 26 minutes long. It wasn't very long. But this is the Dan Campbell Fight Club. I didn't know this about Dan, but I'm not surprised either, to say the least. So here we go. Dan Campbell Fight Club. In 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Our longtime friend from his days with the Aggies and the Cowboys, and we'd never had you on when you played at Glen Rose, but that's our fault. We probably should have, although I think I was still in college at the time. I have to ask you about a Todd Haley interview he did recently. He was on with Kevin Clark or something, and I was listening, and he dusted off a Dan Campbell story I had never heard, and I don't even know if it's real. But he was talking about you playing for the Cowboys. It was a pretty stale practice. Parcells was unhappy that there was no juice in the practice, probably a Wednesday, I think he said. And Parcells called you over and said something to you, and you went back out there, and on the very next play, you were involved in a fight. And maybe almost like you were a hockey enforcer that had to go out there and change the kind of the tenor of what's going on. And I want to hear that story if it in fact is true.
Well, it is true.
Yes.
It is true. Now I'm trying to remember exactly at what point that was, when it was, because this happened a couple of times. So. One I always tell, I do remember getting into it with Greg Ellis, and it was after Parcells. It was exactly what Todd Haley had said. And basically Bill just pulls me over. We're all getting back in the huddle, and as the receivers are trying to come back, he grabs me and he said, "You need to shake it up a little bit." And, I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, I need you to start something here. I said, what do you start? What do you mean? Just do something. I don't care. Grab somebody and punch them, push them. I don't care. But we need some energy out of here. So, the guy I'm lined up over is Greg Ellis. So I think the whistle had blown and. He turned around and I just pushed him, I pushed him in the back and hit him in the back of the head, which Greg is a good friend of mine, man. We competed every day. I love those guys. And so, but I kind of sacrificed it for what Bill wanted. And sure enough, then we get in a big scuffle and the team, we're all out there going at it. But it did. The energy level was raised and we finished with a pretty good practice. So, that was Parcells. He knew what he was doing, man. He always did. Got a lot of respect for Bill. But, yeah, he would come to me periodically and tell me to shake things up.
God, you were that guy.
So does that still happen today?
Well, yes and no. I think you got to be careful who you ask to do that. I do think that I know from what I do and with the guys, we're pretty competitive anyway. I allow a lot of things to go on in practice. I don't want to say it's undisciplined. That's not what it is, but it is highly competitive. And, I think the more you can get under a teammate's skin, that makes your practice really good, man. Gets guys going, coaches talking shit. I just think, man, your energy level raises the competition and you got nowhere to hide, and guys can get exposed or they're going to raise their level of play. And so really we kind of get it organically. I don't need to fabricate it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's your teams compete. I mean, you said that on day one, you want to hit in practice. You want to take them out to the deep water and that it shows on Sunday. That's what's great about watching the Lions play is that you're going to know you were in a battle, and that's by design, isn't it?
It is by design, and at the end of the day, this is still a game that's played in pads, and it's a physical game. And if you go away from that and you don't have an identity, that'll always be, I tell the team all the time, I mean, I won't sacrifice anything for our identity. That means more to me than anything because that's what will always keep you in games. That's always going to give you a chance to win games, no matter what the circumstances are. So we built that from the ground up, and that's us, man. That's what we do.
I thought this was absolutely hilarious, but at the same time, Dan Campbell tones it back to something that is just so. How do you put? I mean, it is the grit worthiness of this team, but he speaks to identity and why this type of stuff, has to happen at times and how it happens. But so the Dan Campbell Fight Club, Bill Parcells getting Dan Campbell to get riled up and taking on one of his good friends to get the fight rolling in practice. So the way this went down is Bill Parcells had Dan Campbell start a fight at Cowboys practice. Now this was back in, 04, 06, 03, 05. I don't know, sometime in the early 2000s. And practice was going bad, and Bill Parcells was getting kind of pissed off. And so he pulled Dan Campbell aside. Didn't see any energy going on, right? And said, like Dan said, you got to do something. Dan, go do something. What do you mean, go do something? Go, I don't care. You got to hit somebody, push some, whatever. You got to shake it up. And so Dan goes in on the next play. He lines up across from, what was the guy's name? What was his name?
Etling or
I don't remember the guy's name now. But anyway, he lines up for one of his good friends, right? And just bulldozes the guy, right? Pushes him, clubs him in the back of the head, and then the whole team just went nuts. And to Dan's credit, and what Bill Parcells wanted was the team finished on a high energy practice. And sometimes, that stuff's needed, right? You just, you get the lulls of July and August. You need your team to get moving. But then did you notice the question that when he was asked, does that stuff still happen today? Did you notice how he kind of caught himself a little bit? Like, he's like, how do I answer this? Because you know damn well that Dan, and like he said, he's very loose in practice. He wants these guys getting after each other. He wants to. We seen it in Hard Knocks. He just said it. I want the coaches getting after each other. And we seen it in Hard Knocks. We seen, who was our who was the OC, or not the OC, he was the running backs coach back then. I could see his name, or see his face. Who was our running backs coach in 2001?
Yeah, he went to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Former running back himself.
Yeah. I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, so you've seen him and Aaron Glenn just getting after each other, right? That whole Hard Knocks. They're just going at each other. And I thought, man, that doesn't look good, right? I thought that didn't look good for the team. But that's exactly what Dan wanted. He wants everybody to have high energy. He wants these guys jawing at each other. But he also said, when he was asked, does this stuff happen today? And he said, I don't want to say that our practices are out of control, or anything like that. But they're loose, and I want guys, to get after it and compete. And they're getting it organically. It's happening naturally where these guys are jawing at each other a little bit. But he also said, and I thought this is a big statement, you have to be careful with who you ask to do this. What do you think he meant by that? And Deuce Staley, by the way. Thank you, chat. Appreciate it.
Deuce Staley. Yeah. So that Dan does take some things out of the Bill Parcells book.
Oh, yeah.
And this is one of those pages that he tore out, he kept and put in his pocket. Because if you remember, I think it was just last year, the Lions lost a practice because they got a little too physical in practice.
Yeah.
In unpadded practice. And I'm guessing that's one of those ones where Dan was like, hey, Zeitler, this practice needs to spice up a little bit. Let's get at it. I know there's no hitting right now, but let's put a little hit in there. So somebody got a little bit handsy or something in one of the practices, and the Lions lost one.
I don't remember what happened there. But anyway, what I'm thinking is this. So it's not like I think what he means by you have to be careful who you ask to do these things, because you have your star players on the team, and you have to be careful about losing, I don't want to say credibility, but trust maybe that, okay, let's say he asked Aiden Hutchinson to go do it versus, okay, the rookie Ahmed Hassani. I think there's a big difference there, right? Ahmed could go start something, but then the team's probably going to look at the dude sideways, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But if Aiden does it because he's a leader on the team, he's been around, they're going to be like, that's right, dude. Yeah, we need this. Let's go. I think there's a different energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Same thing with Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you ask Amon-Ra St. Brown to do it versus Isaac Tesla, I think Tesla is going to get the side eye. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to get the pat on the back, and everyone wants to go out for steak when they're done. So I think that's what he means by that. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments later or below right now. Is that how you took it? Like, it depends on which player, you ask, or when you ask, or who you ask.
Yeah, it's got to be one of your premier guys that can get away with it.
Yeah. I think that the understanding has to be there that they have all, nothing but love for each other.
Yep.
And no matter what happens, it's just one practice, one moment, and they'll be fine. Big shout out to Ornery U of M Dad. He has now been a member for 10 months of the Lions Faithful, man. He says adversity is a powerful tool. And I'm loving it, buddy. Appreciate you being around for so long. And to everybody that won jerseys, you guys should have all received your jerseys by now. So do me a favor and make sure you go to the Twitter or the Facebook, preferably Twitter, tag me, do a picture of your jersey, shout out Rockdown Cancer Foundation, shout out Rockdown Detroit Lions, and let everybody know where you get these awesome giveaways and raffles. Of course, we have multiple raffles going on right now. We've had quite a few people jump in already. It's $10 a ticket for the jerseys. You can buy a Rockdown jersey for $229 right now. So that makes us about, $25 a jersey to put towards a Rockdown Cancer Foundation. Or on that same page, you can just donate to Rockdown Cancer Foundation. And that is buymeacoffee.com/rocked on, ROCKEDON. And the link should be in the description as well. So if you're interested in winning some jerseys to get your gear all set up before week 1, we're going to be doing multiple jersey giveaways. And for every $500 we raise, or $500, for every 50 tickets that are sold per jersey, we're going to do a second jersey, if that makes sense. At least that's the numbers right now that are clicking in my head. I think maybe it's 40 tickets. Yeah, it's 40 tickets because they're $10 a ticket. So it's 40 tickets.
Yeah.
Anyway, to end that whole segment on the Dan Campbell Fight Club, man, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I think it's needed at times. And who knows? Maybe we'll have a story this year.
Yeah. I got a little tidbit for you. So did you see the new signs at Ford Field?
I did see the one on the side of the building.
Yep. So there's a new Motor City hunting season signage around Ford Field. The date listed is 9/7/25.
It's opening day.
And that is the day the Lions season opens at Green Bay. So it says hunting season with a great big slashes going through it. So I thought that was pretty cool that that's their slogan for this year. Their slogan for this year is hunting season.
Or at least for game 1.
Yeah. So they're not the hunted anymore. They're hunting.
Let's see if I can throw this up. And I don't know who put that up. Like, is that the Lions that put that up?
Oh, yeah, because it's on the side of Ford Field. It's on the back
I guess
side.
it is Ford Field. It's the parking garage.
Yep. It's where they always have a big sign. I forgot about that until we were talking there.
Yeah. See if I can get this pulled up here. Just take me 2 seconds. I gotta trim it, of course. hunting season, man. I can't wait. I can't wait till this season begins.
Oh, me too. I was looking at my tickets for the Packers game yesterday. They're just
Didn't you say you weren't able to get loyalty tickets for the practices?
Yep, none.
I didn't get any either.
No, and so
I
had
might be
cool.
getting some through my rep, but
I had something cool happen yesterday. So I'm out working on my new driveway. I had crushed gravel put in on top of my big gravel, and I'm out there using a compactor to pack it all down. And a truck pulls up, and it's Crackman, Ron Crackman Crackiola, and two other the super fans. And they all hop out and they come check out my shop, and they wanted to check out my truck. And I thought that was pretty cool yesterday that they were up for the EUP hospice event this last weekend, and they were going golfing at Bay Mills Resort and Casino.
This is Dan Campbell.
Crackman saw me when he was driving by and decided to stop.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. So there you go. Motor City hunting season 9/7/25. I am curious if this is going to be an all-season thing or if this is just a one-off for opening weekend of the NFL schedule. We'll see. We'll see what they plan on doing. Obviously, they didn't adopt against all odds yet, but I'm sure we'll hear it plenty throughout the season. It's always against all odds in Detroit. We always rise above. What else is next, man? What else is on this list today? It's Mystery Monday, so we don't even really know what's happening. I haven't been paying attention to any breaking news yet today to see if Tate Ratledge has been signed yet or not. But Riley had a topic from last week, and it was about Dan Campbell being a huge fan of Tyree Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this kind of points back to, early in the season. I mean, this is probably a 3-4 week old topic, but it's relevant to right now in the fact that Tyreek has gained the trust so far of Dan Campbell, even though he has not been on the field a whole lot during rookie mini camp and OTAs. And as Aiden Hutchinson said, the same thing, that he wasn't able to see a whole lot of what Tyreek has to offer just yet, but excited to see, what that dynamic's going to look like on the field. So for Tyree Williams, the question is this. Well, I guess the statement is this. One, Dan Campbell really has his eye, on Tyree Williams and clearly has an affinity for Tyree Williams. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in Detroit. But one of the things that was brought up, I'm trying to find the quote here. Yeah, so Eric Woodyard of ESPN stated that it was Williams' intelligence and obvious hunger to get back on the field post his injury caught the eye of Dan Campbell, and that Dan Campbell has earned a fan in the locker room, so far, and that is, of course, head coach Dan Campbell. And here we got the quote from, it doesn't say who said it. It doesn't say who said it, but maybe we can figure it out. Oh, no, it is Dan Campbell. It says, quote, knowing what we know and where he's at and what he can do, we like what he is. He is smart. He can get lined up. I know he's been grinding in the rehab, the training, so that's good. Is what Dan Campbell told reporters about Williams as he progresses through the rehab for his injury. So this is my question. I didn't know that he had a major injury outside of that little fall that he had during the combine. So was that fall worse than what we thought it was? Well, I thought it was just a little hamstring tweak.
Yeah.
I guess not. Williams has been nursing a few lower body injuries after the championship run with the Ohio State Buckeyes, that team to the south, right? And in this past year, he hasn't been able to get many reps on the defensive line. So the question is this. The fact that Aleem McNeil is going to be out and others, but Aleem McNeil, which is a big one, at least until November, what do you consider a good season for a rookie defensive lineman? that is kind of thrust into this position that, I mean, he's going to have to, it's like sink or swim, but this dude's going to have to do like gold medal swimming, man. He's going to have to be an Olympic swimmer from week 1. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The guy's going to have to perform. He has to. It's a must. So I guess when you look at his output for the season, what would you think would be, a good compliment to DJ Reader and the rest of the defensive line as far as a statistical performance? And I'll give you a little bit of info here. So over his 4 years at OSU, he racked up 136 tackles, 28 for loss. Love that number. 11 and a half sacks, 10 PBUs. So if you break that down, that is 2.5 PBUs per year. That's about 4 sacks per year. It's about 7 tackles for loss per year. And about 35 tackles per year. So 35, 7, 4, and 2.5. The question is, what do you think is a successful season for him?
Average. If he can average those numbers, fantastic.
So just his college average?
Yes. Just those for a rookie season. Heck yeah. I'll take just his average.
That would be an insane season for any defensive tackle in the NFL for me.
Yep.
Having 4 sacks, like DJ Reader had 3 last year, and that was his best ever.
Yeah, I'm not so worried about the sacks. I want him to stay home, stuff the run, and push that pocket. Push that pocket for Hutch and Hassanin and whoever's playing edge. Push that pocket. Push your guy right back into the quarterback. Disrupt that play. Disrupt the pass. Be a game wrecker. And if he can be at least what Aleem McNeil was in his first year. So let me look that up. Let's go to good old
Aleem McNeil's first year. That's what you're going to compare it to?
Yeah, we're going to look at Aleem McNeil's first year.
I would say that's probably a good way to go. So while you're looking that up, here's what I would say. I just want the guy to swim, right? I mean, I think that the stats will come, but this is not a defense or a team that is stat hungry. These guys are more in tune with performing well, right? Taking care of their assignment, knowing their details, right? Completing their details on every snap. The fact that Dan Campbell mentioned something so simple as he knows how to get lined up, like many people wouldn't understand this, but like that's a real problem for some players, even at the NFL level, that they don't know where to line up within the scheme because the scheme is difficult. Like, this is not easy. Like, this is going from algebra to calculus, and some colleges get you prepared. OSU, I would believe, is going to get you a little bit more prepared than most, but some don't. I mean, it is totally a different language. But he's going to have to learn fast. And I would say for me, like the tackles, whatever, the tackles for loss to me is the most important. I'd rather see this guy getting into the backfield, shaking up, the run game, the pass game, and, and dropping either the quarterback or the wide receiver if it's, some play to the wide receiver behind, the line of scrimmage, and making sure that he's effective at controlling his gap, right? Being gap responsible and ensuring that he gets his hand up. And that is the one thing that I liked about his stats is, he's got some PBUs, so he's getting his hands up. And we just listened to Jared Allen the other day, last week, where he was talking about getting your hands up on pass plays. How can I help this play? How can I affect this play? If I'm not winning my rush, what else can I do to affect this play? And that was getting your hands up. And so if you're at a stalemate at the at the line in the trenches, you got to get your hands up into the throwing lanes. And it appears Tyree Williams is good at doing that. And those are the things that I look forward to the most, is the things that he does well, and being able to add that type of game, profile to this defensive line and just adding another element to this defense that maybe we didn't have before.
So I looked up Aleem McNeil's numbers for his rookie season. So his rookie season was 2021. He played in 17 games. He started 6. All right. He had 422 snaps. He played 37% of the snaps. He had 2 sacks, 39 tackles, 15 solo tackles, 24 assisted tackles, 0 fumbles, and 0 interceptions.
Run through the tackles, the sacks.
So
does it have PBUs in there and tackles for loss?
No, it didn't have that. Just says
I'll look it up in a minute too.
2 sacks, 39 tackles.
2 sacks, 39 tackles. So, I mean, that is kind of right in line with what Tyree Williams had at OSU. So he averaged, he had 136 tackles over 4 years, which is 34 tackles. He had 12 sacks. So that's 4 sacks a season. It's pretty close.
Yep.
I would say that if he does that, we're in good shape. It didn't have PBUs or TFLs listed?
No. I'm just looking on SpoTrack what they had. So.
Oh, yeah, you got to go to PFF.
Yeah.
All right, so I just added the article. I just added the Spotify link in the description. So if you want to listen to the full Dan Campbell audio of the interview with the ticket in Dallas, it is now added. Please check it out after the show. And let me open up PFF real quick. And my eyes are getting heavy after having to consume all that food this morning. And it happens every time, man. You go hypoglycemic, you eat, and now I just want to go snooze. It's Monday. I can't be doing that. It's not Sunday. Okay, so if I go in and look at his defensive grades, we'll look back at his rookie season, which was that 21 with the Lions?
Yep. Yeah, 2021.
Oh, I got to sign in. Okay. No, that'd be 22. We got McNeil.
It said 21 on SpoTrack.
Was it? Yeah, it is 21. I'm sorry. Okay, so he had 21 total pressures, 2 sacks, he only had 4 missed tackles the entire season. 10% missed tackle rate. That's really good. Pass breakups, he didn't have any. And as far as tackles, like I said, he had 21. I don't see the TFLs yet. I'll find it. But while I'm finding it, we'll come back to this. So you guys let us know in the comments below, how important of a season is it for Tyree Williams to at least bank on an average this year that is commensurate to what Aleem McNeil had last year? Or is it more so of an Aleem McNeil rookie year? Which one do you think is going to be more important? I mean, for me, I think that as long as he can bank on an average that is what Aleem McNeil did in his rookie season, I would say that we're going to be in good shape. What we can't have is Tyree Williams be a fish out of water. He's got to be, he's got to be doing the backstroke from day one. And he's got to be an Olympic swimmer, man, because this team needs it. We can't be down any more football players.
Yeah, because we're going to have 8 or 10 weeks of no Aleem McNeil.
Yeah, it's looking like mid to end November. Mid to the end of November, excuse me. And even then when he comes back, it's not like he's just going to be Aleem McNeil again.
Yeah.
He's going to have, his body's going to be soft. He didn't take any hits. It's going to take him 3 or 4 weeks to probably feel right again. And then there's another 3 or 4 weeks of, putting it all back together. That's why I always say after these major injuries, that season that they come back it's kind of a throwaway season. But this is going to be a time for Aleem McNeil to come in and help push us over the edge into the playoffs. I think that's where he's going to be able to help us the most. So while I'm looking up for these stats, I know we got about 10 minutes left, or you got about 5 minutes left. The last topic of the day was there was the all breakout team in 2025. So Eric, if you had to say for the Detroit Lions, who would be the players that you're thinking about that are going to be the breakout players for 2025? Or at least the players we should be watching for a breakout player for 2025. Name 3 or 4 at the most.
Okay, so my first one is going to be Sion Vaki. I think that he is going to push Craig Reynolds for that running back 3 role, especially with his role on special teams. But now I think he's going to start pushing for that running back role as well, not just the special teams role. So Craig Reynolds may be dispensable this year. He may be someone that could possibly be traded or cut. Doesn't make the 53. It just depends on how many running backs we go with this year. We went with 4 last year. Do we stick with 3 this year like we did the year before? We'll see what happens. And then if I had to pick another one, I'm not going to pick any rookies because we don't know what they're going to do. So I kind of think JMO is my other one. I think JMO is going to add to what he did last year. I think he is going to have more yards this year. He was the only player to have 50 catches and get 1,000 yards last year. So
who was that?
JMO.
He only had 50 receptions last year.
I think so. It was really low, but for whatever he had for receptions last year, he broke 1,001 yards. He was the only wide receiver to do it. He had the second most yards per reception for wide receivers last year, and he missed 2 games. So you add those 2 games back on, you're looking at somewhere between 11 and 1,200 yards for JMO.
Oh yeah,
if he gets some targets. So tell me that the duo of St. Brown and JMO, if they keep doing what they've been doing and progressing every year, man, this could be a breakout season for those two. It could be something very special in the passing game, especially when you have the running game that we do have with Gibbs and Montgomery. And now Gibbs, I saw a post the other day, or not a post, but an article, and I can't remember where I saw it, but he was talking about OTAs and that he's never been lined up wide so much before in the Lions offense. So I think that
who is this?
Gibbs.
Gibbs, yeah.
So I think that for the first time, we are actually going to see Gibbs in kind of a hybrid wide receiver Debo kind of a role, a little bit more like we thought we were going to see in years previous, and it just didn't happen. I think this year might be the year you actually see it happen.
Yeah, it's funny, right? It's something that I started talking about early this spring, that when John Morton said that explosives were going to be the most important thing, obviously he wanted to keep intact, and then utilizing, Jahmyr Gibbs in every facet of the game. It was mind-boggling to me. Why was Jahmyr Gibbs so underutilized in the Ben Johnson pass-heavy offense? I mean, let me recant that. Balanced offense, but pass-heavy more often than not. It's just we utilized the run game to set up the pass game, and then, finish with the run game as we had leads. But he was so underutilized. Yeah, you'd catch him a few times out of the backfield into the flat or whatever, but he was not streaking downfield catching passes. He was not running full-on routes. And I don't know that I want Jahmyr Gibbs running over the middle anyway. I don't want him getting lit up because you know damn well someone's going to take a pot shot at him.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how they do utilize him. But okay, so you had J-Mo, you had Jahmyr. Who else did you have?
And my first one was Sione Vaki.
Well, Sione Vaki. Yeah. I think Kai Robichaud still has a chance. We'll find out in 3 days.
Who's
3 days, the rookies report. So for my breakout, I'm not necessarily going to pick, vets, but my breakouts are Ahmad Hassani, excuse me, and Tyree Williams. Like, those are the two players that I want to see really perform this year. And for the vets or for the second-year players, it's Terry and Arnold. And he really needs to step it up and kind of take off where he landed last year, if that makes sense. He ended the season pretty well. He needs to take off from that spot and get better this year. And then on the offensive side of the football, I would kind of stick with J-Mo at this point. I think that I want to see J-Mo take it to the next level. Another gear. But according to this list, without even talking about anybody on the offensive line, this list, since I guess it is list season, there was only one Detroit Lion that made this all breakout team of 2025.
Yeah.
And it was Christian Mahogany, someone who's not even slated to be a starter this year. He's got to fight for a job. But here's what it says. But Eric, give me your 30 seconds as I know you got to run.
Well, how about I go with this? I'm going to go with the one thing I did not get to today. Tony the Tiger is a Lions fan, and who knew? The Detroit Lions roar is now being heard down the breakfast aisle. In a thrilling collaboration celebrating their incredible success, the Detroit Lions and Kellogg's have unleashed a special limited edition box of Frosted Flakes and of the other cereal, Rice Krispies. And the collector's item features Tony the Tiger decked out in Lions' iconic blue alternate jersey and even pays tribute to Coach Dan Campbell's famous mantra with the slogan, "It takes grit to be great." These exclusive boxes have been stuffed in Michigan Meijer stores, so you'll need to hustle if you want to snag this championship caliber piece of memorabilia for your pantry before it disappears. And I'm going to Meijer today, and I'm going to buy a box of each because they got Tony the Tiger in blue in the black jersey, and then they got the Rice Krispies dudes all wearing Lion stuff.
Well, I'm going to have to pick up a few boxes. You know what's going to happen. I'm going to have to give some away, and you better not eat them. Just let them rot on your shelf. All right?
That's what my wife says. She's like, "What are you going to do with those?" She's like, "You can't eat that."
Just let it sit.
Yeah.
Just let it sit. You can eat Rice Krispies, right?
Not really.
There's probably sugar in it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I wouldn't want mice or something getting into it. We got a lot of mice up here in the UP.
Just get yourself a cat. But Christian Mahogany. So I guess to end today, man, all eyes are going to be on the former 6th round pick as he steps into a significant role as a second-year pro, with Detroit needing to really make up for the losses of Kevin Zeitler and Frank Ragnow. And we don't know what's going on with Tate Ratledge. He's unsigned. He's a holdout. Mahogany has got to dominate right now. He's got to dominate the middle, wherever he's going to be lined up, left or right guard. And he's got to ensure that Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery can attack the area with downhill runs. So all eyes on Christian Mahogany as the breakout player for 2025 to watch, according to NFL.com. So thank you guys for joining us this morning. I apologize about the minor audio issues today. It's Mystery Monday, and I tried to start something new today. It clearly didn't work, but we'll be streaming on all multiple platforms shortly. I'll figure it out today. So if you see some random pop-ups, I'm probably just doing testing. Anyway, that's it. Eric, good show. We'll see you guys on, it's training camp week, so I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if Eric will be back tomorrow, but I'll be back tomorrow morning. Since it's training camp week, we're ready to go. 2 more days. Training camp starts on the 16th. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Go and Pride, go Detroit Lions. See you in the next one.
Yeah. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Against all odds. 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 Against all odds.
The podcast.
Shout out to Rockhound Detroit Lions, man. My pride.